Hi everybody and welcome back to the Nerd Shelves. My name's Michael and today we are going to be reviewing a game that I have wanted for a very long time. It is out of print and I had a really hard time getting my hands on it, but I finally have it. So today we are going to be taking a look at Bruges and I couldn't be more excited. So come join me at the table when we take a look at Bruges. Bruges is your typical Stefan Feld point salad type game. The game takes place over several rounds in which players are collecting points through various spots on the board. At the end of the game, after the players add up all of their points, the player with the most points becomes the winner of Bruges. A game takes place over several rounds, and in each round, players will follow these 4 phases. In phase 1, players refill their hand up to 5 cards. The start player begins and may draw from either of the 2 piles. They take a card into their hand without looking at it and base their decision solely on the color shown on the back of the card. The player can decide which pile to draw from. Once that player has 5 cards in their hand, then they may look at them. In clockwise order, the other players do the same. When one of the 2 draw piles runs out of cards, that pile is immediately replaced with the extra draw pile set aside at the beginning of the game. The round in which the extra draw pile enters play is the final round of the game. After all players have refilled their hand, it's now phase 2. In phase 2, the start player rolls all 6 dice. The dice are placed in ascending order on the appropriate spots on the board. Once the dice have been rolled, the following 2 steps are done. First, for each die that shows a 5 or a 6, each player receives 1 threat marker of that color. Players place their threat markers face up in front of them so that they may be easily seen by all of the other players. Once a player receives a 3rd threat marker of any given color, that player suffers the corresponding penalty. The threats are flood, invasion, intrigue, fire, and pests, or rats for plague. The second step after rolling the dice is advancing on the reputation. Each player has an opportunity of advancing 1 step only on the reputation track. The price to do so is determined by the dice. The price to pay is equal to the total sum of every die showing a 1 or a 2. The start player goes first, and if they wish to advance, they pay the sum to the bank, after which they advance their pawn 1 step on the reputation track. In clockwise order, the other players may do the same. If a player does not have enough money to advance, then they cannot do so. After the dice have been resolved, it's now phase 3. This is the phase where players will play cards from their hand. The start player begins by playing 1 card from their hand. With this card, they may perform one of 6 different actions. There are 5 different colors of cards: blue, brown, red, purple, and yellow. The front and back of each card shows this color. The first 5 actions are depicted on the banner found on the right side of each card. With the exception of the color, these 5 actions are always the same. Each card also depicts a person, and these people all have different actions. The actions a player may take are: first, discard a card to take 2 workers of that color. Second, discard a card and take that amount in money from the bank equal to the value shown on the die of that color. Third, a player may discard a card to get rid of 1 threat marker of that color. Fourth, a player may build a canal token. Each player has a guardhouse that bears their colored seal. From these guardhouses, one canal is heading left and another is heading right. Each canal is divided into 5 spaces. A player's first built canal will always be one of the 2 sections next to their seal. To build a canal, you must first play a card matching the color of the canal space you wish to build on. Then you must pay the money shown on that space. After you do this, you place 1 canal token on that space. If a player reaches space number 3 of either section, that player will score 3 points at the end of the game. When a player completes one of the 2 canal sections, they can take the topmost statue token. These statues have victory points in descending order. Therefore, the person who builds the first statue will get the most points. The 5th action a player can take with their card is to build a house. To build a house, a player must pay 1 worker of that color, then put the card face down in front of them. Each house scores 1 point at the end of the game and can accommodate 1 person. Recruiting people is the 6th and final action a person may take with their cards. Each house can accommodate exactly 1 person, and to recruit a person, the player must pay the money shown on the card. They then take that card and place it on the building with the person side facing up. Each person shows the price, the victory points it adds at the end of the game, how to activate the person, the name and benefit of the person, and which group it belongs to. There are 4 ways in which a player can activate a person. People with an arrow icon are activated immediately when played. People with any of the 5 worker icons are activated at any time during a person's turn by paying that colored worker. A card showing the infinity loop is an ongoing bonus and breaks the rules in some way. And finally, the people with the laurel icon are end game victory points only. Once each player has played 4 cards out of their hand, phase 3 is done. At this point, all players will look at the reputation track, how many people they have recruited, and how many canals they have built. If one player has the majority of any of these categories, they may flip over the corresponding token to the colored side. Once a player has flipped over their majority marker, it will stay on its colored side for the remainder of the game. The first player marker is then passed to the person to the left, and a new round begins. This continues until one of the decks has been depleted. At the end of the final round, players count up all of their victory points for houses built, benefits from people, their majority markers, canal victory points, statues, victory points on the reputation track, and the player with the most points is the winner of Bruges. So there you have it, Bruges. Now, before I get into my thoughts on Bruges, I need to start by saying that my opinion could very well be a biased opinion. I've wanted Bruges for so long, and I finally got my hands on it. I mean, when I say so long, I literally mean years. I've looked for Bruges. Now that I have it, I am just so excited to finally get it to the table. I know a lot of people like it. I love it, but I don't know how biased my opinion is, and that's fine. I've wanted to play it. I finally have played it, and it did not disappoint. If you like the Steffenfeld point salad type of game, this is the game for you. There's something else about Bruges that I just absolutely loved. I loved these cards with 6 different actions you can choose in each card. It is such a great mechanic. It really made me struggle. To be fair, I haven't really played this game a lot. I just got it. I've only played it a couple of times. So these decisions might get easier as time goes on. I don't know, but I found it so difficult to decide what to do with these cards. I mean, there were times in the game where I had a red card and I needed red meeples, but I also needed to build red buildings, and everything, I only had one red card in my hand and I didn't know what to do. Do I get rid of one of the fire threats? Do I discard my red card to get 2 red meeples because I needed them? And I needed those to be able to build red buildings, and I needed red buildings for endgame victory points. It's just so much to think about, and I love how you have so many different options for each card. Such a great mechanic, and it just really made Bruges shine. And I'm just so happy that I finally had an opportunity to play it. For me, Bruges is perfect. It really is. I don't really have any negatives to say about it. Maybe the only negative I would say, then again, this may change when I play it more, but I felt like the game was so well balanced that it didn't really matter what route you took, you were able to score points. And for that reason, maybe the scores will always be very similar. But again, I think the more I play it, the more I will be able to build a more efficient engine. Therefore, going a certain direction will be way more beneficial. I don't know. I'll play it some more. Maybe I'll come back to it. I'll give it another review maybe in the future, because I will definitely be playing more of this because it will hit my table a lot. I really love Bruges. If you haven't played it, go ahead, try to get your hands on a copy, give it a try. I think it is available for online play if you can't actually play a physical copy. I know you can go online and play it for sure. So give it a try. If you have played it, leave some comments below and tell us what you think. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It would really mean a lot for us for your support. Now, go ahead and get another game off of your nerd shelves. Take care. Bye.